Alright, so here we have the GepRC GR1507-4200KV and 3600 kV motors. These were sent in by GepRC factory, so thank you so much for sending the motors for testing so I can test them, review them, and share the results with you guys. So thank you so much for sending it, GepRC factory. These have been out for a few months, so they're fairly new. GepRC has been making interesting, good motors, pretty powerful actually. They've been known to make good power. So it's going to be interesting to see how well these 1507s do compared to other motors. As usual, they come in these just regular cardboard boxes, nothing fancy. So that's good if that keeps the price down. They come in packed in a plastic bag, so that's alright. They're all metal, so nothing's going to happen to them. And they give you 4 small M2 screws for mounting the motor, a couple of spare E-clips, a low profile 9-lock, and the motor itself. So this one is pretty much with the standard features we've come to expect from modern motors these days. It's got the naked bottom, the minimal base, and let's measure that one, the bolt pattern on that. Looks like 12 millimeters, 12 by 12. So there's that, and the shaft, as you can see there, it's just held in place by a E-clip. So looks pretty much like its bigger brother, the 4-spoke pattern. So it's kind of a nice design, though this one has an integrated propeller shaft integrated into the bell. I can see this one is 12N 14P configuration on the stator, 12 poles on this motor, as most 1507s are these days. So let's measure these wires, and these come in at 100 millimeter worth of wire, so that should be enough to reach a center mounted ESC. And this wire looks like it's 24 gauge wires, so pretty good size for that size motor. So let's see what it weighs with that much wire. So that's 16.2, so pretty reasonable weight. 16 grams on a 1507. It's a good weight considering that it still has the factory length of wire. So if you cut that wire, you'll probably be losing half a gram or a gram. So that's around 15.5 grams or so with short wires. So that's a pretty good weight for a 1507. So remove this clip and we'll take a look at it on the magnifying glass. So there we go. And that comes out pretty easily. So let's get that magnifying glass and have a look. Alright, so here's the bell, and pretty similar to the 2207 and 2306 with the pattern right there, and nice machining on the bell bits, and that's just pressed in. And that shaft is 2 millimeters. Magnets are nicely packed together there, and there's a retaining lip on the ring there, so nicely put together. And again, another beautiful stator there with the windings, as you can see, quite neat. And 12N 14P configuration. 1507s are pretty much using that configuration these days. So let's measure that height of the stator, and that is 7 millimeters. So that's good. And yeah, wires are fairly tucked in, so that's okay, nothing sticking out. And there's some protection there for wire management out of the motor, so that's okay. So same as its bigger brethren, this one also made out of 7075 aluminum all throughout. The bell casing and the base, as stated on the GepRC website on the stats for the motor, and they do mention that it's 15.5 grams. I imagine that's without any wires. And they are saying that for 180 seconds this can sustain 29.2 amps. So it seems like they measure it all the way to failure, because they're giving some fraction of amps figures there. So that's interesting. As you can see, there's some errors there. So these do come with a specific rotation. This one is clockwise, so the thread on the shaft is a reverse thread, so that it's self-locking. Some people like that, others don't care much for it. I don't much mind it. Just gotta be aware of which nine locks go where, and just make sure you don't lose them. So let's put that back together, and we'll get it on the truss stand and get some numbers to see how this motor does and how it compares to other 1507. So 2 kVs, so keep an eye out for both tests. All right.
Alright, so here are the truss test results for the GepRC 1507-3600KV. This motor came in right on the dot, 3590 as measured, so pretty much 3600 kV. So I went ahead and tested just a couple of the props, 3-inch and 4-inch, which is mainly what this motor is going to be used with, I think. 3S and 4S, just a quick test on this one. I think this is going to give us a good sampling for the performance on this motor, especially if you compare it to the Brother Hobby 1507-3600 kV. That motor has slightly lower kV than this, but it's pretty much about the same size in kV, very close. You can look at the Brother Hobby 1507 test video. It's on the channel. Just do a search and you'll find it. You can see the truss test results for this one are slightly higher, and the amps go in line with the truss, just a little bit higher than the Brother Hobby. And I think it's mainly due to the higher kV on this motor. The Brother Hobby has slightly lower kV, so it's spinning somewhat slower, so lower truss, but not by that much, just a little bit. You can compare the truss table on that. It's on the video description. So very close to the Brother Hobby. These motors slightly higher. I would say they're pretty much the same. This one just slightly edges out the Brother Hobby, which is a good sign. Both pretty good motors, so if you're looking for a 1507, this one should fit the bill, I think. Of course, as far as durability, I can't comment on that because I haven't actually flown it and crashed it, but I'm sure there's quite a few people already using this one, so we can check what the comments are on those. So anyways, I hope that gives you some information on this motor, and until the next video, thank you for watching.